Hello again. Today I decided let's bust out the colored pencils. Why not? Oh man, so what happened since the last time I talked? Well, most recently we went to Portland. Spent Thanksgiving up there. It was a really good time. My fiance's family, they're just so welcoming. They love to try and plan time with us as much as they can, and they're just very thoughtful. Everything they do. Yeah, so this year, instead of spending too much time with my family, we did do a sort of smaller Thanksgiving get together with my mom, which was really nice. So I had, I think, in total like two Thanksgiving dinners. I love Thanksgiving. It's a good time to just get together with people, minimal expectations other than good food and company. So, yeah, celebrated my birthday. I got this new ring light. I hope it's looking nice on camera. It sure seems pretty sharp. I'm filming this with my mini iPhone. Love my mini iPhone. And I got the ring light on like an arm. Got the mic on an arm. I think I showed that off in a recent studio tour. Now I got things kind of set up how I would like. But yeah, oh my god, the pumpkin pie was amazing. Oh, I already love pumpkin pie, but this one was like extra creamy and just oof. It was pretty hard to beat. My grandma back in the day, she made some amazing pies, so we won't even compare. But this is the best one I've had in a while. Yeah, so what else did we do? We really just spent good time together. My partner, she went dress shopping, which was really exciting. It was her stepmom and her grandma and her dad and I. We just let the ladies do their thing. I'm not trying to spoil any surprises. So that was really exciting. She found the one for a very good cause. I think it was like Brides for a Cause or something. I want to say they are like philanthropic. Oh, here we go. A little zoom in. Bam. Let me know what you guys think. Do you like it a little more zoomed in or farther out? Just on my screen, I kind of like it a little more zoomed in. Yeah, she's very considerate of like the environment and trying to put her time and her dollars to good use. So I'm all in support of that. What else? They went to Smith Tea. They got me some of my favorite tea. I love this Fez by Smith Tea. It's more expensive, but for like the occasional, just really nice cup, it's so worth it. Their tea bags are just phenomenal too. They don't leave like a papery taste. Here, one sec. Yeah, so while they're busy doing that, her dad and I we tend to just have our guy time. We'll kind of split up from time to time. Guys, girls, go do your thing, or like sometimes I'll join the ladies on a hike. It's just a good time. It's always a good time. Very relaxed. Good conversation. Well, I helped him with the turkey and prepping some like collard greens with kielbasa and just stuff like that. So yeah, that evening he invited some extra friends over. He's had a really good meal. Plenty of wine, plenty of champagne, and they have a fireplace indoors. So you bet I'm just cozied up, absolutely peaking, like peak human experience. Full belly from Thanksgiving, plenty of fine wine, chilling next to this fireplace, and listening to vinyl. I mean, kind of hard to beat. I'm a bit of a homebody, so I'm just peak. I mean, I love camping, and that's nice too, but the convenience of having a campfire in your home is just makes me want a fireplace. So yeah, now that we're kind of back to reality, Just been working and um, yeah, I mean this week I was kind of faced with my own germophobia a little bit. I won't go too into details. I'll spare who I'm having these conversations with, but I'm just finding like if it has anything to do with like raw meat or like poison oak or like anything like that. It's like this like contamination thing I have. Like I sort of neurotically will like wash my hands and just sort of dealing with like the shame of that. It's not very fun to have to like explain yourself to people with those things and being who I am, like I tend to try and solve things myself. But when it affects the people around you, it's not easy. So if I can share any advice, I took some time to myself just to think and just address the shame really. I think it's worth having difficult conversations with people. Even if it makes your skin squirm or you feel like the bad guy or like whatever it is, it's worth talking it out. And if the people in your life aren't willing to have those conversations, you know, there's a sign, there's a clue, but the people that really do care about you are going to want to hear you out, even if you're a broken record. I don't know if you guys can relate. I wouldn't say it's an OCD, but maybe. I mean, I'm not going to self diagnose, but at times it can feel pretty controlling. Like, sometimes I'll like neurotically check the locks on like my car or the door. Or if I get anything like sticky or oily on my hands, I'm washing it off immediately and like constantly and thinking about what hand I touched what with. And like with poison oak, I get so paranoid. So paranoid. If someone even brushes up against it, I'm like, I am not touching that part of your clothes or anything. Like, it can be kind of exhausting. And I hate to like project that onto people in my world that don't have the same concern because I would hope they don't. It's obnoxious. But yeah, shame can be a very suffocating thing. I've dealt with a lot of it in my life, and it's been a bit of a hurdle. I used to be kind of boundaryless, and it's not a good way to live. You think you're doing right by people by not drawing a line or explaining yourself and just let yourself be a doormat. It's done it for too long. So shout out to all my fellow doormats out there. Don't You ain't gotta stay like that. But yeah, all in all, it's been a good week. A little challenging, just emotionally and navigating that. So thoughts. I'm sending my good thoughts out to anybody else dealing with similar, slightly different problems. Like, you got this. Like, don't let your feelings get the best of you. Just take that moment for yourself. Just get yourself out of the situation. You don't have to react. You don't have to say anything you will regret. Just pull yourself away, find that calm, let the thoughts pass through. You don't have to, your thoughts aren't you. They're just traveling through you. So let them come. Don't try and escape it. Listen to them. There's usually wisdom in it. There's plenty of wisdom in shame. So sit with it, then have the conversation. There's no rush here. So, just moving on from that back to this drawing. Messing with the colored pencils was kind of fun. I started off with just a pencil sketch. This is just in my sketchbook, so it's probably not the best place for colored pencil, but I'm just letting loose on this stuff. I'm not trying to focus too much on the finished product, at least not in every attempt here. I kind of like the sketch a little better in a way, but at the same time, I was having a lot of fun with all these colors. It sort of like brought the piece to life in a way I'm not used to. I'm so used to just sketching these days. It's kind of nice to get back in color lately. So I guess the thought here sort of going off of the tangent I was just on. I wasn't really expecting to make this today. My first thought was like, okay, maybe I'll have like some sort of person with like something growing out of their head, like a plant or something. Like maybe I'll personify the landscape and it'll be something like I've done before, but instead I got like a bit of a thought bubble going. You can see I sort of erased the actual like sheen to the bubble. But that's sort of the thought. I've done things like this before where I have like fractured triangles or like diamonds or squares like poking into like where like the third eye is, or like someone's forehead or the back of their head, and like the thoughts are sort of blown out or like entering, and sort of like a way to like frame them is where my mind goes. Cause like it's easy to like have a bunch of stuff flying out of the head, but like nothing to hold it in. So it's kind of cool to like contain it in a way, kind of like a planet. Like your thoughts are like into bubbles or into whatever shape the thoughts might feel like. So in this case, like I just wanted to capture that kind of swirling. I'm like, yeah. At the end, I'm like, okay, maybe I'll add some tears. Like it just like sort of adds the thought that these thoughts are like swirling and that it's overwhelming. And sort of put some stars around and almost like there's these planets like orbiting this cloaked person's head, where it's like the thoughts are swirling, they're orbiting. Even if you try to escape it, it's being pulled in, like there's a gravity to you and like these emotions. So yeah, I really like this concept. I like how the main thought bubble turned out quite a bit. I can see myself riffing on something like this in the future, like revisiting this maybe with some more clarity, a little bit more like energy into it. With what I was explaining, I have like the most energy coming into today's session, but you know, it's kind of like working out. Sometimes you just gotta show up. This is me showing up today. And wanting to, as far as the colors I'm picking here, kind of went with like I believe it's complementary, blue, and like the yellow complementary color scheme. So you can see like without being too on the nose, I made like the cloak a bit more of like a lighter brown, tied in some like oranges and yellows and these like planetary feeling thought balls floating around. Excuse me. Yeah, all these like pulling away. I'm sharpening the pencils. It's been a while, so a lot of these are pretty dull. I got a good pencil sharpener. I keep it in an Altoids tin I've had since high school. And still got some doodles from some of my good friends in it. If you know, you know. Yep. Yeah, I wanted to have this more red ball of energy or whatever. Just sort of draw the eye in, add a little bit of variety. Keeping it too complimentary can make it seem like comfortable, but not stand out a bunch. So there's like this red glow kind of hovering behind, almost like a stress maybe. If we're just like giving the colors feelings, like the red is like intense heat, the yellow's like kind of happy, swirling, and like the blue is very like deep in thought. So went with like a dark indigo with my colored pencils for like the actual like orbiting, and purple for the stars because they're kind of glinting, but at the same time a little mysterious in this case. Yeah, and as I sort of dot things in, I wanted to give the dots just a looseness, give them a density around the like main thought bubble to really amplify like the pressure of that. Like while it's swirling on the inside, it's a lot of pressure on the outside. Art can be therapy, you know. Looking at this, it's clear kind of where my mind was, and it's good to see it. It's good to see it in a third person and to be able to reflect on it. Like this is kind of like a diary. And I hope y'all like listening to it. It's a bit of a close up. Well, I hope y'all take care, okay? I'll check back in soon. See ya.